Theruvan Saranai. We wish to invite Venerable Weligepola Seelawansa Thero of Sri Vajirarama Temple, Bambalapitiya, with devotional respect to preach this Dhamma sermon, which will begin here as the 29th episode of the Sadaham Sisilasa Poya Day Dhamma sermon series held monthly by the Buddhist Brotherhood of Royal College.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. I respect to the Buddha, the exalted one, the fully enlightened one, and the Arahant, the Buddha. Sabba papassa akaranang kusalassa upasampada sacitta pariyodapanam etang buddhana sasananti. Dear friends, dear devotees, I recited one of the gathas or verses or stanzas included in Dhammapada. Dhammapada is regarded by the Buddhists as their handbook because it is included different counsels given by the Buddha to the devotees to solve their problems. So therefore, all the Buddhists all over the world regard Dhammapada as the handbook to understand the reality of life as well as how to solve their own problems in their lives. So therefore, it is included different counsels or advices or admonition given by the Buddha in different locations in India, but it is relevant, they are relevant to all the problems faced by people all over the world. So therefore, Dhammapada, out of Dhammapada I have selected very famous and very significant stanza, well versed and well memorized by the Buddhists all over the world, especially in Sri Lanka. So I like to give the meaning of the stanza or verse or gatha recited by me. Sabba papassa akaranam, not to do bad. Kusalassa upasampada, to do good. Sacitta pariyodapanam, to purify the mind. Etam buddhana sasanam, this is the admonition of the Buddha. Admonition means advice of the Buddha, counsel of the Buddha. I think out of this stanza, this gatha, I like to explain, I like to enunciate the gradual training taught by the Buddha, exposed by the Buddha, should be followed by the Buddhists, especially those who have become Buddhist. So therefore, here, Sabba Papassakarana, the first line of the verse, denotes about the morality, moral principles taught by the Buddha. That is known as Sila in Pali language. The second line of the verse denotes about the concentration, value of the concentration of the mind, that is Samadhi. Sacitta pariyodapanam, purification of the mind, denotes about the wisdom, for the final goal of the Buddha. So therefore, here 3 lines of this Gatha denotes the gradual training exposed by the Buddha, expounded by the Buddha, to be followed by the Buddhist. So therefore, I like to explain the meaning of Gatha and also interpretations given by the Buddha in the Gatha. But however, first of all, I like to give some other additional points also, so that you may understand the value of understanding the Buddha Dhamma, the teachings of the Buddha, correctly and rightly. Nowadays, in Sri Lanka and some other countries, Buddhist countries, although they are following the teachings of the Buddha, unfortunately, they are following only ritualistic practices. So I use that term rituals because without understanding the meaning of their religious rites and performances, some are practicing, believing in some superficial powers in the world without understanding the real meaning of the Dhamma. So therefore, I encourage the followers of the Buddha, the disciples of the Buddha, instead of practicing ritualistic practices, better to understand the essence of Buddha's teachings. If anybody understands the essence of Buddha's teachings, it could be very, very valuable to promote their daily life and also to succeed all the activities in their daily life. Buddhism is not only a religion. It is also not only a philosophy, but however, it is a way of life. Now, I introduced it as a way of life because if anybody follows the teachings of the Buddha, it leads to promote one's spiritual life into very lofty level, very highest level, sublime level, getting away from the ordinariness. So I mean by the ordinary means in Pali language, it is known as Putujjana. Putujjana means one who misunderstands that all the phenomenal happenings in the world are not relevant to his own life. Therefore, anybody who wants to understand how to get rid of all the ordinariness in their lives. Ordinariness means here one who misunderstands that all the happenings in their life are not relevant to their daily life, but commonly all the happenings, phenomenal happenings in this world are relevant to all the living beings in this world. I like to give some examples. One who is born definitely happens to die. That is one of the phenomenal happenings in the world. Now, according to Buddha's teachings, these phenomenal happenings are relevant to all the living beings in the world. Between the birth and death, I think we happen to become sick, and also sometimes we happen to decay in our aggregates, including the body and also the mind. That is changing frequently. So therefore, understanding that the reality of the Buddha's teaching pave the way to promote our spiritual life, which is also instrumental to promote our daily activities. So therefore, dear children and also devotees in this country and all over the world, I encourage you to understand the core or essence of the Buddha's teachings instead of mere performing the ritualistic practices. But there are some religious performances or religious rites, but if they perform them meaningfully, I think the profit out of those performances could be come upon to their life. As an example, offering flowers to the Buddha. Offering flowers to the Buddha is practiced by all the Buddhists in Sri Lanka, but in the meanwhile offering flowers to the Buddha, if anybody can understand all the qualities of the flowers fade away. Similarly, our body and our panchakhandha. Panchakhandha means 5 aggregates. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. Body, sensation, perception, formations and consciousness. All these 5 aggregates are changing very rapidly. So through offering flowers to the Buddha and also lighting oil lamps also as a religious rite, if anybody can understand philosophically the reality of their life, such a religious performance or religious rite could be approved. So therefore here, first of all, I like to pay your attention about the correct and right understanding of the Buddha's teachings firstly, instead of performing unnecessary religious rituals. Now here I like to explain further the path leading to Nibbana given in this Dhammapada verse. Sabba papassa akaranam, not to do bad. Here bad means unwholesome actions. Unwholesome actions means akusala. Getting away from or get rid of unwholesome actions or preventing from unwholesome actions is necessary at the outset of our spiritual development. That is known as sila, morality. I think if anybody wants to understand why we have become human beings in this world, among the other living beings, human life is appreciated by the Buddha. And also, perfect human life is much appreciated by the Buddha. Because we have become human beings as the results of abstinence from doing bad, unwholesome actions, not only in the present birth as well as in the previous birth. Since in the previous birth, we have become human beings because of that abstinence from doing bad, doing unwholesome actions in the past as well as in the present birth. I think you know what are the unwholesome actions taught by the Buddha, bad actions taught by the Buddha, which are opposing to mankind. We have become human beings because of that abstinence from doing bad, unwholesome actions. I think we must correctly understand when we have become human beings, we are having some specific and very powerful potentialities in our life. What are those potentialities? The power of thinking, memory, as well as the power of recollection, and also mostly very valuable factor is inferential knowledge, what would happen to us after our death. That is very, very important, because always we are taking effort to understand what would happen to us after our death. Now elders always they are thinking that, and also how to succeed the daily activities in the present life. So therefore, if we wish good birth after death, as well as how to lead our life very happily and very comfortably in our present life, we must become human beings. So therefore, humanity should be followed. Here, morality or moral principles taught by the Buddha are regarded as following the humanities. What are the humanities? They have been divided into 4 parts, basically. First one is in Pali language, metta, loving kindness, karuna, compassion, mudita, appreciative joy, and upekha, equanimity. These are basically sublime thoughts cultivated in the mankind, and also if they are practiced in our practical life, good results come upon us. Therefore, Sila means coming closer to the humanities and mankind. It is very relevant to all the human beings in the world. I think without disregarding the religion, caste, creed, race, or any other social distinctions, all are regarded as human beings, irrespective of caste, creed, race, or any other social distinction. So if we think Buddha's teachings as a path leading to mankind and humanities, it could be a religion. But however, traditionally, in our Buddhist text, Sila or morality has been introduced as restraint in body and also words. In another way, bodily and verbal restraint is Sila. If you want to restrain in body, definitely we happen to remove from taking lives of the others, stealing the properties belonging to others, and also sexual misconduct. The threefold malpractices which are regarded bodily doing by a person. When we follow such moral conduct, moral principles, definitely we must minimize these kinds of malpractices or misdeeds. And secondly, if anybody wants to restrain verbally, he must get rid of telling lies or false speech. And also second one is pisuna vacha, in Pali language, slandering, giving some false report to the responsible person, to disharmonize their friendship. Frivolous talk, vain talks, and these kinds of, and harsh words, these kinds of malpractices should be evaded or removed from verbally. So when a certain person is restrained in bodily and verbally, it is regarded as sila or moral conduct. Now that is the basic level, basic standard of Buddha's following, Buddha's teaching, and it could be regarded as a first step of gradual training to open the path leading to Nibbana. And secondly, in this Gatha, I like to explain about the Samadhi. Samadhi, when translated into English, concentration. Concentration is regarded as a Samadhi. Here, concentration means centering on wholesome thought only, good thought only, generous thought only, thought of loving kindness, compassionate thoughts, and also equanimous thought. I like to pay your attention about the metta. That is one of the wholesome thoughts taught by the Buddha. Metta means loving kindness. We must be able to spread or extend loving kindness towards all the living beings, irrespective of caste, creed, race, or any other religion or any other social distinction. So therefore here extending loving kindness paves the way to sleep well, with reference to one of the suttas known as Metta Sutta in Anguttara Nikaya. Anybody is possible to sleep well and wake up well. Here, waking up well means always having awakened mind. Having awakened mind means active life, because he is not having anger, revenge, retaliation, and also resentment. I think last one is very, very important. I use that term. Resentment means having idea to revenge from the others, retaliation. But however, we can easily throw away or remove from the anger. But if it is developed into hatred, I think it could be a very big problem. You must have heard about another Dhammapada verse, Nahi Verayana Verani Sammanti Dukdachanam Averanicha Sammanti Esa Dhammo Sanattano. Hatred never ceases by hatred in this world. Through loving kindness, it comes to an end. This is a universal law. I think we cannot end the hatred through hatred. Through only loving kindness, we can get away from hatred. So therefore, always we must take effort to develop the hateful thoughts. When we develop the loving kindness, the people who are associating with are pleasant to you. And also not only human beings, but also non-human beings are also very, very pleasant to you. They are very closer to you. They like to make union with you. Manussanam piyo hoti, amanussanam piyo hoti. I inserted about the unhuman beings. Unhuman beings, some unseen beings also. That is only a belief. But they are also very, very pleasant to you if you extend loving kindness towards them. And your facial appearance becomes very pleasant. Mukavanno vippasidati. Asammullo kalang karoti, in Pali language, you can die very, very mindfully. I think there are different good results out of following these metta or loving kindness. That is very, very good quality taught by the Buddha, humane quality, humanity taught by the Buddha. And also compassion, that is also one of the wholesome thoughts taught by the Buddha. Compassion, in Pali language, it is known as karuna. When we examine some miserable persons, very poor persons, those who are needy, always if our mind is very compassionate on them and sympathetic on them, if we are possible to help them, we should do it. So that temperament is very, very important in our daily life. Nowadays in Sri Lanka and some other countries, always there are many people, thousands of millions of people, those who are needy. But however, disregarding them as beggars, we must help them. We must train to help them compassionately, very sympathetically. That is known as karuna. And mudita is very important. We must always wish the promotion and progress of the others instead of jealousy. When the others are leading their life happily, we must approve it. We must help them to lead further their happy life. And last one is very, very important, equanimously. Always we must be able to examine or study anything around our life and also the lives of the others equanimously, indifferently. First of all, we must study what is happening around our life and also what is happening around the life of the others also. So after understanding only, we must respond to them. Without understanding what has happened, what had happened, and what is going to happen, we must not respond to them. In our daily life, we must understand if we are possible to lead such an equanimous life, I think problems could be minimized. And also we can solve some problems. At the outset, we must understanding the root cause of happenings around our life and the lives of the others also. Now, I categorized all the humanities into 4 in number, but however there are many humanities. We must understand them and also practice them, then only you are able to lead very successful life as the human beings. They are the real human beings. In the second line of this Dhammapada verse, Kusalassa Upasampada, I think Kusala, the term Kusala is very important. How to do Kusala, how to promote the wholesome thoughts. I think when we promote wholesome thoughts, always we must stop luxurious items. We must be able to depend only the necessaries of life only. What are the necessaries of life? Food, shelter, cloth and medicine. They are the necessaries of life. Depending on necessaries of life, if we are possible to give up luxurious items, it could be very assistance, very help to promote the life of those who are needy. Nowadays in Sri Lanka, many are leading hand to mouth life. They are very poor, they are needy. So how can we use luxurious items? Giving up the luxurious items, we must try to help them. That is also one of the humanities in our life. As the human beings, we must have the perfect human life. If we want a perfect human life, I think these teachings of the Buddha should be practiced in our practical life. And third line of this verse is Sachitta Pariyodapanam, to purify the mind. To purify the mind, purification of the mind. So whenever the mind is kept purified, always it leads to promote our wisdom. Wisdom is parallel to education. Especially I like to address the children, students who are studying in the schools. They are very, very attentive to study their areas of subject matters. But mere studying the subject matters is not enough. Simultaneous to studying subject matters, we must develop our wisdom. Wisdom here means how to conduct one's life correctly and rightly. I think leading one's life correctly and rightly means always we must do meritorious deeds. And in the first line of also in this verse, I think meritorious life is very, very important. Merits means the punya. So for the development of collection of merits, what should be done? Always we must help the others. You must dedicate your life, your valuable time, your labor for the betterment, welfare and benefit of the others unconditionally. Then only you can lead perfect life. If you are always helping the others, doing meritorious deeds, I think in Buddhist communities it is regarded as dana, donation, giving, and later on it could be developed into giving up. So dana, if I give you a definition, giving food, shelter, cloth, medicine and other necessaries of life for the betterment of others unconditionally. Here unconditionally means without wishing any regain. Without wishing any regain. That is also the way to collect merits. So therefore when one collects merits or punya, it is also one of the path leading to perfect life. I think if we take as an example the life of the Buddha, he became the Buddhahood, enlightened one, fully enlightened one, Samma Sambuddha, as the result of giving all the necessaries for the betterment of the life, others, when he was practicing as a Bodhisattva. I think I like to give the English term for Bodhisattva, aspirant Buddha, who was aspiring to become the Buddha in Jataka stories, we can understand how he dedicated his life for the welfare of the others generously. As the results of dedication of his life generously, he could become fully enlightened one, and his life is perfect one. There are no deficiencies in his life, in understanding and also good appearance in his life, bodily appearance and attractiveness and also fascination among the followers. Always some bhikkhus, his disciples also, always gazing at him. I think very good example, Vakkali. Vakkali was one of the Buddhist disciples of the Buddha. His disciples, as a disciples, wherever Buddha goes, he also went and he used to gaze at him. Then one day, Buddha watching the activity done by Vakkali, Bhikkhu Vakkali, the Buddha told him not to gaze at him. Instead of gazing at him, I think better to understand Dhamma correctly and thereafter practicing it. Apehi Vakkali, apehi. What is the use of gazing at this body? You must study, you must understand the basic teachings of the Buddha. After understanding the basic teachings of the Buddha, if you practice, that is also watching the Buddha, gazing at the Buddha. So therefore, first of all, studying and understanding Dhamma is given priority in Buddhism. Instead of honoring or respecting the Buddha as a person. Now here also, in our practical life also, we should understand that. So therefore, if anybody, any student or any follower wants to understand develop the wisdom, always he must understand the reality of life. How to understand, how to develop the wisdom? If anybody wants to develop the wisdom, panya, first of all, he must study or try to understand through listening to Dhamma. Now here, traditionally in Sri Lanka and some other Buddhist countries, always periodically they are listening to Dhamma expounded by the Buddhist monks in those Buddhist countries. And second one is thinking. We must think the reality of this life. I think reality of this life is very, very important. Understanding the impermanence of life, sorrowfulness of life, and also soullessness of life. They are known as three characteristics. Impermanence of life means always we must understand the changing of our body, sensation, perception, formations, and also consciousness. They are known as Panchakanda. We must understand the changing of Panchakanda, 5 aggregates. That is anicchata. And whenever one understands the anicchata or impermanence or transitoriness of our life, he can understand the sorrowfulness of life. That is also one of the aspects of panya, wisdom. Sorrowfulness could be understood in this way. If one feels that life is imperfect, that is sorrowful. If one feels that unsatisfactory, life is unsatisfactory, or feeling something lacking, that is also one of the aspects of sorrowfulness. So like that, understanding these three characteristics is also understanding the wisdom, developing the wisdom. And also whatever is heard, repeatedly we must think again and again, repeatedly, what is heard to you. Always you must be attentive to hear what is significant. So like that, in this gatha, in this verse, the Buddha has expounded the whole, the path leading to Nibbana. That is also known as Eightfold Path or Middle Path. Eightfold Path is also known as Middle Path, Majjhima Patipata in Pali language. So dear devotees, in this gatha, not only memorizing the gatha, but also if you are possible to understand the essence of gatha, which is included the whole Buddhism, Buddha's path, I think you will be able to promote your life, succeed your life in the present birth, as well as in the next birth you will be able to attain Nibbana. I like to finalize or conclude my sermon. Thank you very much for listening to my sermon. Finally, I like to bless you, and especially I like to remind that recently your friend Sumudu Samson, one of the students who is studying in Royal College, is seriously sick now. I like to bless him. I like to bless him to get away or remove from that serious sickness. May he live long in peace and happily. And also, after listening to this Dhamma sermon, Dhamma talk, also may all of you will live long in peace and happiness. Sukhi Digayuko Bhava. Thank you very much for your listening.
May the Venerable Weligepola Seelawansa Thero, who preached the sermon on Binara full moon Poya day, live a long and healthy life. So, we will end the Binara Poya day Dhamma sermon here, hoping to meet you again with a special and valuable Vap Dhamma sermon. May the Noble Triple Gem bless you all.